All right, my wife's biggest faux pas is me buying myself presents in the days leading up to my birthday. Oops. Gear acquisition syndrome is a real problem.
Well, I did it again. You know, there needs to be a support group for people like us who just continually buy tents. Welcome back. Got a fun new item to talk about today. New tent in the inventory, and I want to talk about it. So today we are going to show you first look, talk about the Nemo Hornet 2P ultralight backpacking tent from Nemo Outdoors. Going to go through the specs, talk to you about why I bought it, things I think I like, things I think maybe I won't like, and what trips I specifically got this for. So let's get into it. But first,
click that subscribe button. Check out the podcast. Check us out on Instagram. We are on TikTok too for the young kids. We got merch, whatever. Support the channel. You know what to do. Thank you for watching. Back to the video.
This is the Nemo Hornet 2P backpacking tent. Real quick, this is made by Nemo, an American company, really good stuff. This tent comes in two different configurations. So there's a one person for $350 and a two person for $399.99. So I obviously got the two person tent because you know my stance on one person tents. They're like not really one person tents. They're maybe more like coffins. Now, I haven't seen the one-person variant of this tent in the wild. I've only seen the two-person, so I don't know. It might be fine, but I obviously went with the two-person. Let's quickly kind of go through just the high-level features of this tent because there is kind of a lot packed into this basically small size. So first, it is made out of 10D nylon. So if you're not familiar with what that means, 10D means it's a thinner nylon. Now, that's why they're able to make this tent so light, because it is a 10D. Let's talk about the weight. I know everybody wants to know. So I just weighed this as it comes from right out of the box, with the poles in a separate bag, with the tent in the bag that they give it to you with the tag on it. Also in here, there's a bag with the stakes they come with, which are aluminum. So this whole setup straight out of the box from the manufacturer weighs 36 ounces. So that's 2 pounds, 4 ounces. And you might be thinking that's not super light, but for a effectively freestanding tent, that's not bad. Now here is the secret. I'm not gonna carry it in this configuration. I have a Dyneema bag I can put this in. I'm certainly not gonna carry a separate bag for the poles. And I'm certainly going to carry much lighter stakes and probably not in their own stake bag. So I am pretty confident. Now, I haven't engineered it in this setup yet, but I'm pretty confident I can get this down to 2 pounds right on the nose. And if I can get this down to 2 pounds, this is a tent to be reckoned with. They do consider this tent to be what they call semi-freestanding. I'll show you what that means.
They do market this tent as what they call semi-freestanding. And I'll be honest, and you can watch the tent setup. You can use this thing without stakes for sure. You're just not gonna have as much room on the inside. What the stakes do, especially down at this foot end, is they pull it out and give you a lot more space. And then I just staked out the back here, which honestly seems a little unnecessary, but it does kind of give you more room. But that's kind of what it looks like without the rain fly on. And let's get the fly on. We got the rain fly on now. Very easy to put on. It really, all it does is clips onto the inner, let's get out of the sun, clips onto the inner right there in the back. And then you use stakes there and on the other side right there. And then in the front, it just uses the same stake as the inner. So 6 stakes with the rain fly.
This tent's freestanding now. In order to pull it all the way out and get the most maximal amount of floor room, you are gonna need a few stakes, at least 2.
They call this sort of deal here where they kind of have like a square design that pulls out. They call that volumizing guy outs. And I get it, you know, it's gonna be better than just having a single point come out. If you have these 2 come out, you get more of a box design. So you do get a better foot space with that for sure.
One of the reasons they market this with a bunch of stuff sacks is the stuff sacks do make it able to split this weight almost evenly between 2 people. I'm not concerned with ever being able to do that. Even when I go with another person to share this tent with, like with my wife, what we generally do is I don't split the tent up. I just give her maybe the cook kit or the can of gas or something. I'm always carrying more weight than her. But yeah, I'm not interested in being able to split this tent just down the middle weight-wise between two people. And in doing so, getting rid of these little micro stuff sacks, you can take a lot of weight off the setup as a whole. Another good feature of this tent is it does have 2 vestibules on each side, which, I've talked about this, ad nauseum at this point, and it really allows for much better ventilation.
I do want to get a shot of the vestibule space. They are pretty big. I mean, they're not huge, but it's about as big as the ones on my Altiplex, a little bit bigger, and you get 2 of them. So you got one there and one there. And I will say it was, when I was inside the tent, it was pretty easy to get in there and utilize the vestibules from inside the tent, which can be a big deal to me.
This tent is also obviously so easy to set up, and a one true test of that is I just went out, no directions, nothing, plopped the tent on the ground, and I was able to get it up in a few minutes. It really is a huge advantage to freestanding tents is this was so easy to set up and so fast. Getting back to the ventilation, because this has a secondary rain fly on it, you won't get condensation in your tent. And that was something on our last trip to Colorado I struggled with. Every night on a single walled Dyneema tent, I'm waking up with condensation dripping down and my foot box is always wet, and I had enough.
Here's a shot of the inside. So, they've got your classic storage pouches over there, double entrances and zippers, which are good. Right here, they have these in some of their tents. This is a pouch to put your headlamp, and it's kind of got an opaque material here, and it will disperse the light. So at night, you can put your headlamp in here, turn it on, and it should illuminate the whole inside. It's also got classic, things here and on the other side. But other than that, that's all you got on the inside.
Also, because it is Nemo, and I'm a big fan of the company, it's got a lifetime warranty. I have owned 4 or 5 different products from Nemo, paid for them all myself, and I've always had really, really, really good experience with Nemo products. I've had this Tensor sleeping pad going 50, 60 nights now, no issues. I got their pillows, no issues. I really do like the company, and I think the stuff is priced fairly. So let's talk about why I got this tent, because God knows I already got too many tents. So I got this tent because last few times, and we're going up to California now, a couple reasons. One, I'm done dealing with condensation on the inside of the tent. And I was surprised in Colorado, which is normally super dry, maybe because we were there in July, but I woke up almost every morning completely soaked on the inside. And Bryce had his double wall, and I was so jealous of it. But I am just done in a lot of conditions with the single wall tent. Also, because of certain places we've been backpacking, I am putting an emphasis on having a freestanding tent in the arsenal. Really, because in inclement weather, you can get it set up so much faster. And then additionally, if you're in areas where you can't get tent stakes in the ground, like for instance, in the Rockies or in Yosemite, where you might be sleeping on a granite rock, and then if you need tent stakes, it might be doable. You got to get some rocks and put them in there and do it. And I'm done dealing with that. And I think the weight is good enough to where I can rationalize and justify bringing a 2-pound tent. So yeah, the main reasons were I wanted a double wall tent. I wanted a freestanding tent where I didn't have to worry about stakes. And if I could get something that wasn't super expensive and was light enough, if it was around 2 pounds, I was doing it. And I think this is a fair price. A cent under $400 though for a made in the USA 2-pound, I'm calling this 2 pounds, freestanding ultralight tent. I think that's fair. I'm pretty impressed with how the feel is inside the tent. I've never taken it. I haven't taken it overnight. I've been with people on trips that have used this tent overnight, but I've never used it overnight, but I got in it.
All right, finally inside the tent. It is a 2-person tent, tons of room in here. It's kind of tapered, right? So you have more room down here than you do down here, but obviously big reason I got this tent is because I wanted a 2-person tent, and for the weight and for freestanding, this really, really works. And once again, I'm 6'2", so I'm not small, and I can lay down fully like that, and my feet are not hitting the ends, so I feel good about that. I'll get a pad in here later, but most pads are as big as me, so I feel good about that, and there's tons of space here. Now, for 2 actual people, this would be a squeeze.
I really did miss having the floor space out in Colorado. The Altiplex is great, and for 15 and a half ounces, you can't beat it. But there are going to be situations where I'm willing to take an extra pound of weight with me to get all these, luxury features, like not having to deal with condensation, like having 2 vestibules, like being able to get it up quickly and not having to worry about stakes. So I'm going to be in situations where I'm willing to make that sacrifice, maybe on shorter trips, and this tent just fits the mold. One thing I may or may not be worried about, but I've not had a tent where the bottom of the tent material is something that's like super fine, and 10D, 15D nylon is pretty thin, and that's what gives it a good weight. But I might have to bring a ground sheet with this. I don't know, especially if in California, if I'm pitching on granite rocks, we could get into some issues there. That's something I might worry about with this tent, is you might want to consider a ground sheet. I'm not going to know till I use it. I'm probably not going to take one with me. I don't know. I've got a piece of Tyvek that weighs like an ounce, maybe if it's got the right dimensions, but something like this, you might want to consider a ground sheet. Another negative is this tent just weighs more than a non-freestanding 2-person tent. Like, it's technically a negative, but you know what you're signing up for when you buy this, and I don't know if you can really hold it against it. But they do consider it an ultralight tent, and 2 pounds for an ultralight tent, sadly, is a lot of weight. I also just don't like that it comes with all these stuff sacks and a pretty heavy stuff sack. And once again, I get it. 2-person tent, it is cool to be able to divide the weight easily, but I'll be honest, most people, if not every single person I've seen that uses a 2-person tent, never intends to use it with 2 people. If you're going out there with 2 people regularly, you're probably going to get a 3-person tent. So that just was something that doesn't interest me. I will say the stuff sack is cool. It's got like a little like moon or constellation diagram on the inside. And it's got a lot of cool little features. So if you don't care about weight at all, the stuff sack's actually pretty cool and pretty hardy. It's not made of that 10D nylon. So yeah, that's it. Seen me set it up, check out the inside, check out the features, talk to you about why I got it, why I'm excited about it. I will be taking this out to California in very, very soon, maybe a week or so. So I'll get 4 or 5 nights in it. But yeah, I've been with people that have used it. So unlike most tents, I've seen this tent in use, and obviously I've set it up. So very excited. Won't have to deal with condensation. Won't have to deal with trying to get a tent stake and a slab of granite. So yeah, and I really do like Nemo products. They've never sent me anything, never talked to them, paid for everything, and I've got a lot of their products, and they've always worked out super well. So yeah, that's this tent. I do think, given everything we've talked about, this could be the best tent for the weight, for under $400 for sure. Big Agnes has some sweet tents kind of in this range, but they're way more than $400. So I do think that this could be a really, really good tent for people looking for that price point to get these features. That is it. Finally done being sick, ready to go out to Yosemite. We'll see everybody on the next one.